Hello and welcome to the Critical Thinker, the unbiased opinion. So here our main purpose is trying to make you think for yourself. We don't want you to think like we think, but we want you to, through a process that is less emotional and more logical, we want you to reach your own opinions and in a very based way, meaning, you have researched opinion, educated opinion, and instead of just having, emotional opinions and things that are just part of what some celebrity said or someone you like from an ideology standpoint. So today, I wrote this article, and I'm going to link it in the description of this video. But before anything, and the title of the article is Before Anything, I want you to like the video, subscribe, share. If you like the content, share with your friends, recommend it to your friends. If you don't like, recommend it to your enemies. The article is named Before Anything. In times when anyone believes to have a valid opinion about anything, we have to establish something very important. There's an abysmal difference between opinions and facts. Today we can all say whatever we want. I always say that social media gave all the idiots a megaphone, and now they don't want to give it back. So we can all say whatever we want to say, and there's not much fact-checking or anything like that. We can all have the craziest opinions ever, and that was never so, let's say, democratic as it is today. So let's talk about facts. A fact is absolute. Only its interpretation can vary. So a fact is devoid of merit. It cannot be either right or wrong. So we cannot say, oh, that's my truth. There's only one truth and perspectives, different narratives from it. Example, two cars, one red and one black, collided at the intersection of Street A and Street B on Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. According to one traffic camera, and corroborated by two security cameras belonging to different businesses facing the alluded intersection. So you have this car accident where, one car hits another car at 12:30 p.m. and you have cameras to document that. Okay? That's a fact. Is proven by empirical evidence and cannot be disputed unless someone can prove that evidence is not real. Any opinions, unless it's a technical appraisal of the footage from three different sources, are utterly irrelevant. So you have an accident happening, okay? So any opinion about that is completely irrelevant because you have hard evidence showing that the accident happened between these two cars at the aforementioned time at the aforementioned intersection. The only way to dispute this would be to present equally irrefutable evidence. One can bring 1,000 people stating otherwise, and that would mean absolutely nothing. So meaning, there is a saying in the legal world that says that the witness is the prostitute of the evidence, meaning you can pay someone to say whatever you want, and that doesn't change anything. So even if you have someone saying something and you have 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people agreeing with that, that doesn't mean necessarily that's true. Something can only be refuted by equally powerful evidence. And even then, depending on the case, there's a sort of a stalemate when having equally powerful evidence pro and against a narrative. Like we have, especially in academia, we have some things that scholars debate about. That you have equally powerful evidence from both sides, and using that evidence you can support equally, let's say, plausible narratives. And that happens a lot in a history field, because history is, let's say, half hard evidence and half interpretation. So you can have different narratives that are not necessarily wrong, but they have to be equally supported by evidence. And then you're going to have like a sort of stalemate, like a scholarly dispute, which is totally healthy and fine. Please note that at any moment of my example, I suggested whose fault was in the accident, because that would be an opinion based on several factors, especially on an interpretation of the valid legislation, mitigating and aggravating conditions, etc. Meaning, I stated only that there was an accident between two cars on the intersection of Street A and Street B at 12:30 p.m. and I used the cameras to corroborate that. So I'm not saying that was the fault of the red car or the black car, or whose fault was, because I have to interpret the legislation, and then that comes with more study of it, and we have to get more information and more evidence to be able to substantiate an opinion, a judgment of merit. And unfortunately, people, especially on the internet, they don't understand the construction of facts versus opinions, because we cannot have any opinion we have. We have this false idea of democracy that we are entitled to have any opinion we want, and it's okay. We can think whatever you want. I'm not far from trying to say that you cannot think whatever you want, but what I'm saying is you are not entitled to have stupid opinions. You have to substantiate what you say with evidence, and that's how you have educated opinions and not stupid opinions. Okay, let's talk about opinions. Unless the empirical proof refutes the previously presented evidence, anyone's opinion is nothing but a mere impression or point of view. So we have a very, let's say, naughty saying in Brazil about opinion, and uses a part of human body and says that to have an opinion, the only requirement is to have that part of the body. Okay, let's say a head. It's not a head, but let's say a head. So in order to have an opinion, the only requirement is to have a head, not necessarily even a brain. Mere opinions have no importance in a scholarly debate. An opinion has no obligation of being grounded in anything but the person's belief, not even in pure logic. Okay? And even when we talk about logic, we have something called sophisms. Sophism usually uses real premises to arrive to a false conclusion. For example, Hitler was a Nazi, is the first premise. That's correct. Hitler was a vegetarian. That's another premise that is correct. And the false conclusion is Nazis are vegetarian. That's not, you use two premises that were true, but you arrived in a sophism, and is in a wrong assumption based on the two real premises. And a lot of people try to use these tricks to fool you using some broken logic, let's call. Unless it's a scholarly opinion or a technical appraisal, an opinion is important, okay? But those opinions cannot be given loosely. They have to be backed by empirical evidence, otherwise, regardless of who is professing the opinion, they are as irrelevant as anyone else's. For example, if the world's highest authority on brain surgery gives a diagnosis purely based on the patient's name, meaning you can have there the highest authority on brain surgery, and he reads the name John Smith, and he gives a diagnosis purely based on that. He doesn't see even the guy's picture or the guy's records or anything. Without actually knowing any symptoms, examining the patient, or looking at the patient's tests. The expert's opinion is as good as anyone's, a pure guess. So, of course, no, bona fide doctor is going to give an opinion based on someone's name. But let's for a moment imagine that's possible. So, if this doctor, I don't care how reputed he is, how acclaimed he is, if he gives an opinion based purely on someone's name, is as good as mine, as yours, as anyone's, as anyone passing by the street, you can ask, and is a pure guess. So, sadly today, we see people with valid credentials in a determined field misusing them and giving opinions on an unrelated field. For example, regarding knee treatment, the opinion of the world's highest authority in brain surgery has less importance than the one from a mediocre orthopedic doctor. So meaning the world's most acclaimed brain surgeon, when you're talking about a knee treatment, you can have a very mediocre orthopedic doctor. His opinion is better than an opinion from someone that is not related to that field. They're both physicians. So an actual specialist in the field that treats knees. The fact that both are doctors doesn't make the famous brain surgeon's opinion more valid than the mediocre unknown orthopedist. On a personal level, the opinion of someone you care about, parents, grandparents, or friends, is sometimes very important to you. The fact that they might have more life experience, and also because they supposedly know you well, or because they might have gone through similar situations appertaining to that opinion. So, obviously, you might have a question about something or some decision you have to make in your life, and then you go to your friends or to your parents, to your grandparents, to someone, to your mentor, someone you respect. And even if the person has no particular knowledge on that particular field, you're going to respect their opinion, but that doesn't mean that their opinion is necessarily a based opinion. Okay? However, even the experience, goodwill, and affection are genuine, the opinion might be equally useless. For example, if I'm planning to drive from Los Angeles to San Francisco, the experience of someone that has been doing the exact same itinerary for 25 years by plane is worthless. So if I want to drive from LA to San Francisco, I can go to someone that has been flying for 25 years, and this person's opinion and experience is useless to me. So because I'm driving. Maybe the most famous and highest opinion in history is the infallibility of the Pope for Catholics. Many people don't understand that faculty. The Pope is only infallible when talking ex cathedra, a Latin expression meaning from the chair, or issuing an opinion with the full power of his office, which is a very rare and also has to be backed by known doctrine, not being just the Pope's personal opinion. So every time the Pope talks, it's his personal opinion. When he is actually issuing an opinion that is ex cathedra, or I mean from his throne, his chair, that opinion is, of course, to Catholics, infallible. But even that infallible opinion must be backed by doctrine, and it has to make sense. It cannot be something like that from the top of his head. Okay, now this is very important. I've been talking about that for many years even, and it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. So, as I said, unfortunately, social media has given a megaphone to all the idiots and don't want to let it go. So that means there is this condition, okay, that in 1999, two scientists, David Dunning and Justin Kruger, detected a very interesting cognitive bias whereby people with low ability and expertise or experience regarding a type of task or area of knowledge tend to overestimate their ability or knowledge. Meaning, people that know less about something tend to have more confidence. So, this is like exactly what's going on in 95% of platforms of social media, and even on some TVs and news outlets. Some researchers also include the opposite effect for high performance, their tendency to underestimate their skills. That's known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, meaning people that actually know a lot about something, scholars, people with experience, serious researchers, these people, they are a lot less confident about what they know than these people that know less. Oh, that's the reason why we see the most stupid opinions in the history of mankind being defended so valiantly by their perpetrators. People really, they have no clue about anything and they are fighting about it. You can see that people like, and it's not just online. You've seen recently with, Trump and Biden and Obama and all this fight, between left and right, us against them. And I've been saying that we have this division. That's one of the great problems we have in mankind today. So, and people, they actually don't know much about it, and they defend it with all their hearts, and that's very sad. So in conclusion, unfortunately, no matter how special we are or we think we are, our mere unsubstantiated opinions worth to the world close to nothing. So even if we want to think that we are special, and we might be special, I think we all are special in some area. I think you are watching me, you are special in some area. But our opinion is not necessarily special about everything. So we've seen with the COVID pandemic that everyone became expert in public health. Then when there's elections, everyone is an expert in elections. When there's a war, everyone is expert in foreign policy. So, and it's just opinions. It's just opinions. So anything, and if you follow me on social media, you can see that I've been attacked ruthlessly by people, with extremely stupid arguments, and which is okay. I try always to make the stupid attack, or some are even hilarious. Like I've been accused of being born in Brazil, and as if I was trying to hide that. On the contrary, if you go to all my websites, everyone knows I was born in Brazil, so I'm proudly Brazilian. And if you want to understand why I was born in Brazil, you watch our documentary, The Royal Legacy, or The Christian Kings of the Middle East, and you understand why you have more Lebanese living in Brazil today than in Lebanon, because of the persecution of Christians in the Middle East. So, but that's another conversation for another video. I just want to say that we've been presenting documents, books, encyclopedias, scholars putting their reputations in line to support what we are saying, and people think that they're just by throwing something that they're not even sure about, they can have the equal weight of all this plethora of documents and hard evidence that we presented. So, no. In order to even go to a debate to someone that is extremely substantiated by hard evidence and things like that, you have to at least present an equal amount of proof in order to even be at the qualifying position of debate with that person. Otherwise, it's just an opinion. An opinion is just an opinion, nothing but your point of view, your judgment about something. And unless you are really have credentials and your opinion is based on empirical evidence, your opinion is not important. I mean, in reference of that debate, your opinion is important. For example, I want to know your opinion about this video. I want to know your opinion about our channel. That opinion is important because we want to make better videos for you. We want to make better content to you. And obviously, I have this philosophy that nothing is good enough that cannot be better. So that opinion is very important. And of course, your opinion about everything is important. However, when we're talking about something that has a burden of evidence, that's also very important. When, for example, someone presents evidence and you are accusing that evidence of not being true, you have the burden of evidence of counter-proving that. Meaning you have to present refuting evidence to the evidence that was presented. You cannot just say, no, that's BS. You need to present. If, for example, in the example of the car we used here, if I presented camera footage, you have to present camera footage or equally powerful evidence refuting that. Say, no, it was not a red car, it was a blue car. Again, don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share with your friends if you like. If you don't like, share with your enemies. Make them suffer watching us. Okay? Thank you so much. You have a great weekend. And see you in our next critical thinker. Bye-bye.